Wait. Before this video starts, I just want to say if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate if you would hit subscribe for this channel. We just hit 100 subs and the support for me and my content keeps getting higher, so thank you to everyone in the Horde for helping us reach this amazing milestone. We're gonna try and keep this going as we reach for our big goal of 1,000 subs, which would be crazy, so help us reach our next goal by subscribing. Thanks for subbing if you did, let's get on with the video. What's going on, everyone, and how's it hanging in the Horde? I hope all of you are doing well. My name's Ryujin3838, and in this video, we're going to be doing my first ever Overwatch 2 Legendary Skin Ranking, Redux. As you can tell from clicking on this video, I'll be re-ranking, rearranging, and reconsidering my thoughts on all of the new and old skins for Zenyatta. In case some of you are wondering, the previous ranking video I made for Zenyatta will remain up on YouTube, but with us reaching 10 whole seasons of Overwatch 2, a lot has changed both in and out of the game, so my opinions in that video may not reflect how I feel today. That's why I've decided to try out these Redux rankings to see what's different after all this time. As always, with every skin ranking I make, this video will only cover skins in the game as of this recording, so be aware that if you're watching this in the future, there may be some skins not featured on this list. Another disclaimer before we start, this list is based entirely on my personal opinion. If there are things you disagree with, feel free to let me know in the comments below how you'd rank these skins yourself. I simply make these lists for fun and to show my passion for this game in a unique way. The next ranking we do will be a regular skin ranking for a character we have not covered yet, and it will be for a support character. So far, based on comments left on previous videos, the frontrunner is none other than Baptiste. If you want it to be for someone else, use this video to leave a comment suggesting your picks, or else forever hold your peace. These videos are ultimately put forward by all of you viewers, both in and out of the Horde, so if there's someone you'd like to see get ranked, make sure to leave a comment down below with your favorite Overwatch heroes. Remember, if you don't pick, I do, and you may not like who I pick, so please make sure to leave your suggestions, it really helps out. You can also check out which heroes we've already ranked using the Legendary Skin Ranking playlist available on my channel page or in the description below. That's all I've got to say for now, so without further ado, let's go ahead and re-rank all of Zenyatta's legendary skins in Overwatch 2, starting with our brand new epic skin honorable mention. My new honorable mention pick from Zenyatta's epic skins is none other than this Overwatch 2 shop exclusive skin from Season 7, Bathmaster. I mean, personally, I feel like this one's a no-brainer, but maybe that's just me. This skin is easily my favorite Zenyatta epic skin now, and it's 100% because of the rubber ducky orbs. Not only are they just kind of funny as hell and goofy looking, but when you fire the rubber duckies from your hands, they make squeaky noises. Like, that's amazing. I feel like I don't even need to say anything else after that. They squeak! Like, honestly, do you know another epic skin off the top of your head that has its own custom sound effects? Because I don't. Genuinely, I don't know if there is one. Is there one? Please tell me. I need to know if there are more cool epic skins like this. The rubber duckies are just plain awesome and carry this skin to an easy victory. I've got nothing left to say, really, other than Bathmaster is a certified banger. Let's just go ahead and move past this and move right on to last place on our Redux ranking. If you've seen the original ranking video I did, I doubt most of you are surprised to see this familiar face. At the bottom of my Zen ranking, unchanged from the last time I did this, is the Overwatch 1 Lunar New Year event skin, Sanzang. This is still an outfit I have never worn, or at least I don't have any memory of wearing, and after I made the Zenyatta skin ranking over a year ago, I thought maybe I'd give it a try and see if I was wrong. And I never did. I haven't even looked at Sanzang since I made that Zenyatta ranking, and honestly, it's not without a good reason. When I first started making these skin rankings, I was a dumb 19-year-old who barely knew how to make a YouTube video. I mean, I still kinda don't, but that's not the point. I didn't think that deeply about what I was trying to say or what my point was. I kinda just spat out whatever thoughts flew into my head in the moment. Taking a look back at my Zen ranking, there are a lot of things I said about most of the skins in that video that don't line up with how I feel today, except for Sanzang. I kinda hit that one on the money. Originally, my thoughts were that the skin's just kind of weird, and over a year later, that remains true. Getting into specifics, I think the face is still the worst part about Sanzang. It's got this uncanny valley type feeling, and it just really bothers me and is unsettling. The rest of the clothes here just range from mid to okay. For starters, I don't like this cloth hanging down the middle, only because of these rings on the bottom. It makes it kind of look like a shower curtain more than anything else. I also don't approve of this like green techno scarf thing hanging off his earrings. It just looks really out of place and doesn't fit at all. I genuinely don't know why it's even on this skin, and if they removed it entirely, it would make this skin infinitely better. I mean, it would still be my least favorite Zen skin, but it would be better. Another thing that remains boring to me about this skin is the orbs. These just look very plain and simple. It's just a basic wood carving. Like, there's nothing really to look at here. In the original Zen ranking, one of the things I complained about a bit too much was that the orbs had this inner blue center that, and I'm paraphrasing my past self here, would wreck the orbs. I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I have absolutely no clue why I thought this was a problem. I could see that my point throughout that video was about if the inner centers were a different color that matched the rest of the skin, it would look cooler, and I think that's like somewhat true still, but I don't know why I harped on about that for 30 minutes. Genuinely, I no longer see the issue, and I can't remember why for the life of me I thought so harshly of it to make it a recurring problem I had in that video. I also talked about the golden guns a lot because I use the golden guns pretty much 24/7 for Zen. But these days in the skin rankings, I don't do that because not everyone has gold guns. Like, I personally only have 2. Lucio's and Zen's, because I barely play comp on any game, not just Overwatch. There have also just been other cosmetics that have come out over the years, with us getting the Jade weapons, and more of them probably on the way. So, I'm using this segment to say that number 1, I'm not going to comment on any of the blue rings on the orbs because it's stupid and cringe. And 2, I'm not going to comment on the golden guns because that's stupid and cringe. We good? Moving on. Sanzang is weird, case closed. I still don't like it, and the only part I do like is the same as over a year ago, which was the red crown. Sanzang overall has a creepy face and somewhat weird styling, and nothing about it has changed for me since the last time I thought about it, and I guarantee after this video I will go back to never thinking about it again.
Black hole sun, won't you come?
Is it just me, or does anyone else think this skin looks like someone colored it in with Crayola markers? Sinking into 17th place, we have this base legendary skin from Overwatch 1, Ra. On my original Zen ranking video, Ra was actually in 13th place, not 17th, which is a pretty drastic change. So, what about Ra changed for me specifically? When I was redoing this list, it was initially due to the fact that there have been newer Zen skins that have come out since I made that video. Looking at it longer though, I saw there were actually some things I missed the last time around. My big problem with Ra back then was that there was an abundance of these thin lines of color that didn't really need to be there, especially here on the belt and the legs. While that is something I still don't like, I've also come to realize I flat out don't like the color of his limbs at all. I'm not into this dark brown bronze shade, and it would be better to me if it were gold or white to better match this bird headdress or even the orbs themselves. If they dropped the random streaks of colors and also made the limbs this matching gold here, it could look a lot better in my opinion. Aside from all of that, I do still have an issue with the orb design. It's almost entirely this pure white, and while the gems that look like eyes are cool, the white makes it look like I'm staring at an eclipse anytime I view the orbs, especially with this reflective gold material in certain parts. The scuff marks that are all over it make it even worse, because I understand that it's supposed to appear like an ancient artifact, eroded over time, but that doesn't change the fact that it still looks ugly as hell. Ra is a Zenyatta skin with a lot of wasted potential that I didn't notice the first time around. Now that I'm a bit older and wiser, I can see many of the glaring errors, which drags it down a tad into this spot on my ranking.
Light work, no reaction.
Light work, no reaction.
Ooh. Okay, it's got a little kick. Ooh.
You know, if genies were real, we could solve so many of the world's problems with ease. Stuff like poverty, war, starvation, the environmental crises. Anything would be on the table if you really think about it. I'd like to think if I had 3 wishes, I'd use all 3 of them to rework Zenyatta so that tanks can actually play the game and not get a Discord orb shoved up their ass. In 16th place, we have another base legendary from Overwatch 1. This is Zenyatta, or Zenyatta. Forgive me if I've butchered the pronunciation here. I think it's pronounced like Jin, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, this skin remains one of my least favorites from the previous ranking video. In the last video, Zenyatta got 14th place, and the only thing that dragged it further down on my ranking now was that there are more Zen skins in the game than before. Despite that, on the previous ranking, Zenyatta was my second worst Zen skin, and this time around I actually swapped its position with Ra. What made it ever so slightly better in my eyes was that the main issue I had with it in the previous Zen ranking was the orbs. I didn't like that the middle center here didn't match with the gold gun, which, like, yeah, of course they don't match. Why the fuck would that make any sense, young me? Why are you such a stupid, silly little man, huh? You dumb idiot, you absolute buffoon. I'm getting off track here. Point is, I'm not using either of those criteria anymore, so that leaves one other problem I had, which remains true today. I'm not a really big fan of the red body armor. Originally, I said the red armor didn't mesh well with the other colors present, and while I don't think that's as extreme as I did a year and a half ago, I still have some disdain for it. It's not bad, but I also don't like it. Zenyatta is certainly a fun skin, but if I'm being honest, its counterpart is way better. I still like the blue gems here, and I like the contrast they create. I just don't like much else, though.
Let me speak to the people, Piccolo! Let me speak! No one's stopping you. They need to hear this! 30. They need to hear this!
You think Zen is, like, really cracked at Beat Saber? Like, if you've got a VR headset stuck to your face, I'd hope you at least be good at something, you know? Maybe he's just really into Among Us VR. In 15th place is this Overwatch 2 shop skin from Season 1, Cybermonk. This one might be a bit of a shocker to some of you out there, especially given that in the last ranking, Cybermonk got 9th place. This was one of the more drastic changes I made on my Zen ranking, and I'm sure it's one that many of you might disagree with, so bear with me. I remember seeing a few comments on the original Zen ranking saying that Cybermonk was underrated, but if I can be real for a moment, I kinda sorta disagree with that. Me personally, I think it's a bit all over the place. There are a lot of things I still dislike from the last ranking, such as the biggest example here, the pants. I don't get why there's this super bright red, and nothing else on the skin is even close to the same color as the pants, except for this tiny little tuft at the top of his hat. And that's not to say you need more than one piece of the fit to have the same color, but I'd like to think doing that is more satisfying. Without it, it certainly makes parts of the fit look out of place, because you've got bright red pants on a skin that is almost entirely this yellow and dark blue. With how little of the red is visible on the hat here, it doesn't even matter that you've got the red in two different places. Speaking of the hat, I don't like it that much either, and I don't think it goes well with the VR visor stitched to his forehead here. One opinion I held previously about Cybermonk has changed, that being the orbs. Initially, I didn't like the little 3 dashes on the holographic centers, but I think it's grown on me now, and I don't think it's all that bad anymore. I really like these deep blue colors, and that the energy inside kind of looks like it's like faded out a bit, so that it looks kind of like it's moving. Going onwards to a brand new opinion, in contrast to that one, I have come to realize I do not like the shirt he's wearing here. I'm not into this reflective turquoise that much. It's not terrible, but I also don't particularly enjoy it, and I personally would prefer it to not be so reflective. With that said, Cybermonk has dropped from being what I once considered an average Zen skin to now being a fairly mid one. I still feel it could be better if the pants were a matching bright yellow, but I digress. Cybermonk is fine, but it's definitely not what I once thought it was. It's kind of funny how for both of Zen's base legendary skins, the alt colors are just the evil equivalent of it. Like, we've got Ra, and now we've got Evil Ra. Casting their shadow into 14th place is this base legendary skin from Overwatch 1, Zenyatta. This is another skin that has changed positions somewhat drastically since I last ranked it, which is honestly surprising to me. It's not because I was shocked at how much different I view it now, but more so due to the fact that I'm shocked I thought that highly of it to give Zenyatta 10th place in the last ranking. Like, it's a fine skin, but definitely not worthy of the top 10 in my opinion. The one thing I do like about it is that it makes a play on Zenyatta's wise, pure monk character making him look more evil. That was something I noticed over a year ago too. Aside from that though, it's ultimately an average skin at best. I find it far superior to its counterpart Ra, mostly due to Zenyatta being able to keep a consistent color scheme here. The orbs on Zenyatta are also way better. I think the red gems and the darker orb color mesh better together and make the scuff marks less blatant. The scuffs actually seem to be replaced with these gold patterns here, like the paint chipping away pretty much, and it definitely draws away from how bad the scuff marks looked on Ra. I used to think Zenyatta was a pretty decent Zen skin, but nowadays I think it's gone down in quality for me because it's just an evil Zen recolor and doesn't bring anything else to the table aside from that. It's cool, but there are better evil Zen skins that do way more. Well, I guess we're still on our evil and nefarious shit with this one, huh? Continuing on, at 13th place, we have the final Zenyatta-based legendary skin from Overwatch 1, the counterpart to Zenyatta, Ifrit. Ifrit is clearly the best Zenyatta-based legendary, at least to me. The colors are amazing, particularly so on this body armor here, and I really like this red symbol on his chest as well. Originally, these colors used on Ifrit carried it all the way up to 8th place on my ranking, but unfortunately for all you Ifrit fans out there, it didn't end up staying there. Ifrit is still a very cool skin, but the other newer Zen skins that have come out over time are just better to me. I've said this a lot on many of my more recent skin ranking videos, but the thing about a base legendary skin is that it will be in the game for the entirety of its existence. The longer it's there, the more likely you're going to find so many newer and better skins. Reevaluating my thoughts on all these skins has also forced me to look deeper into these legendaries than I ever did on the original Zen ranking, because back then my head was empty anyway. Giving it more thought, many skins got swapped around in this video because I put actual thought into what I liked and didn't like about each of them. Ifrit isn't really bad, but compared to the other skins that have come out after it, it's become kind of boring. I think the main problem I still have with Ifrit is the orbs, and I know I said I wasn't gonna talk about the inner centers because I think it's stupid and cringe and they're all blue and whatever. I think if it had been red, it would fit so much better. Ifrit is an oldie and a goodie, and yet it's still an oldie, and therefore not as much of a goodie anymore. If that doesn't make sense to you, sorry.
It's not always about the money, Spider-Man. It's about the Mets, baby. Love the Mets. All right, baby, let's go. Get a home run, baby. Love the Mets. Let's go, Mets.
Is it even possible for Zenyatta to play baseball? I mean, obviously he can play, but, like, is it legal for him to play? Like, if he hits the ball, he's got to run to first base, but he floats. And if he ends up getting a walk, well, I don't even know if he'd take it because he doesn't walk. My point is, Zen's a better pitcher than anything. Let him charge shot one of those suckers and put a hole through someone's bat. And maybe through their face, depending on where they're holding the bat. Floating into 12th place is Zenyatta's Summer Games event legendary from Overwatch 1, Fastball. I don't entirely know how, but miraculously, Fastball didn't end up changing its position on my new ranking whatsoever. A lot of what I said in the old ranking remains true about Fastball to me. Overall, I think it's a fun skin to use, and was a really easy idea to give Zenyatta, you know, with his orbs. He throws them out of his hands, pitcher like a baseball player, you know. My biggest problem with Fastball is its face, though. It's like they tried to mix an umpire mask with pit vipers, and it doesn't manage to make a good mixture of the two. There aren't really any other issues I have with Fastball besides that. However, it didn't end up changing on this REDUX ranking because I still think there are better skins than it. If anything, Fastball managed to keep its position because I realized it was a lot more enjoyable than I once thought, especially with all these small tidbits placed on it, like the Iris team logo and the catcher's mitt hanging off his back. Fastball has definitely improved in my recent memory, but ultimately remains in this spot on my ranking to make room for some other skins I believe are better.
Let him cook! Let him cook now! Let him cook! I said let him cook!
Hold up, let Zen cook real quick. In 11th place, we have our first of Zenyatta's new outfits, the shop-exclusive Overwatch 2 skin, Takoyaki. I'm gonna cut to the chase with this one. The orbs absolutely carry this skin. Before I get into those, though, let's take a quick look at Takoyaki as a whole. Taking a closer look, it's very obvious this is borderline default Zenyatta. Like, look at his head here. That's literally just default Zenyatta with a red chin plate instead of a yellow one. I know normally this isn't a skin you'd expect to be this high on one of my lists. Most of the time, a default or close to default legendary gets dead last in a few minutes of roasting, but Takoyaki is a bit different, and it's entirely because of the orbs. These are so freaking cool, and honestly one of the best orbs he's gotten in a long time. They have this steam effect coming off of them here. They look so good, I want to eat them. I don't even know what real takoyaki even looks like, but this just looks delicious. Despite how much I like them though, the orbs can't carry takoyaki forever. The rest of the outfit is fine. It clearly takes inspiration from Asian cuisine garb and restaurant workers, which I appreciate. The cloth going down here is probably my favorite part of this design. I absolutely love the splash work on it here. Apart from that though, there's not really anything else that's eye-catching. The other skins I listed before this one had fairly simplistic orbs, which didn't really help any of them. Takoyaki's design is meh, resembling default Zenyatta, but the orbs are the first ones on this list that have flair to them. The outfit makes sense, of course, and I'm not trying to say it doesn't either. On the other hand, the orbs go absolutely crazy and distract from the rest of the outfit. The orbs are also just the thing I really enjoy the most, so that said, I didn't want to give Takoyaki a much higher position on this ranking, especially because all these skins that have come after have really good orbs too, but they also have much cooler designs overall. Also, why does Zen have toes? This one might take a while and has a lot of backstory, so please stick with me for this one. Kicking off the top 10 on this Redux ranking is Zenyatta's other Lunar New Year event skin from Overwatch 1, Liang. Again, forgive me if I'm butchering these pronunciations, and feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. In my original Zenyatta skin ranking video I did, Liang ended up becoming one of my more controversial opinions, to say the least. It's a long story, so I'll summarize it as quickly as I can. Originally, I didn't like certain elements of the skin, such as his realistic human hair on his face, and I didn't like the headpiece he was wearing. I thought his face looked way too human, and the way I went about saying it seemed kind of weird, especially in retrospect, because I didn't know at the time I made that video that Liang was based on an actual person in Chinese history by the same name. So yeah, it did not look good. And many people were very quick to call me out for it in the comments of that video, and they were absolutely right to do that. When I was made aware that Liang was actually a real person, I made sure to apologize in the comments and said I wasn't trying to diss Liang the person or any facet of Chinese culture. I was simply dissing this Zenyatta skin. So before I go any further, I want to say, first of all, I am truly sorry if anyone who watched the original Zen ranking was offended by my comments. It was not my intention whatsoever, and it really was just because I didn't like the human hair on Robot Zenyatta, and I was not aware of the real Liang. Secondly, I want to say that this is not really how I feel about this skin nowadays anyway. After that video went up and people made me aware of Liang, I actually did some research into the history behind him and found a deeper appreciation for this skin because of that. It was an appreciation I didn't see beforehand, and it was thanks to all of you telling me that I've realized I actually do like this skin. Now, I'm still not the biggest fan of the realistic human hair on Zenyatta, but at least I now understand why it's there. There are other Zenyatta skins that have beards in this game, but they also tend to use the metal pieces to resemble a beard instead of just using real human hair, and I personally am more fond of that look on Zenyatta. I also have come to realize that the hat he is wearing here is actually a traditional Chinese headdress, and after doing all that research, I've come to like it more as well. One thing I'm still not super sold on about Liang here is the orbs. I think these opaque centers are neat paired with this sort of metal band with what I think is maybe like a phoenix or a dragon pattern on it. However, the orb is just neat to me, and it's not super crazy looking. Liang is certainly a better skin for Zenyatta than I once thought. It's definitely got a cool design, yet it's still not an all-time favorite of mine, leaving it at this spot on this Redux ranking.
Our enemies are gay. The spirit is gay. You are gay.
Not gonna lie, I kinda shocked myself with how much lower this one went on my list. Landing in 9th place, we have this Overwatch 1 skin from the Halloween Terror event, Cultist. In case you don't remember from the old Zen ranking, Cultist actually got 6th place right under the top 5. Cultist used to be my favorite Zen skin for the longest time, up until they released the recolor for it, Zealot. Now that I've gotten some more time to think about Cultist, I've come to see that it's gotten a bit worse to me, especially because of how amazing Zealot is. I think Cultist is a solid legendary skin, but there are some elements that I think the recolor improved upon, so much so that it's made Cultist not feel the same way to me anymore. One of the things I still don't like about Cultist is that there's this rust pattern all over the band of the orbs here, and while there is a similar pattern on Zealot, it's not this super bright green like it is on here. It's not terrible, but it also just isn't great. I'm also just more fond of the colors that they used on Zealot. Other Zen skins have come out that have bumped Cultist down on my list too. Doing this Redux ranking and rethinking on all these skins and having to think about the new skins made me see how far Cultist has fallen out of my favor, and while I still love its design, there's not much I can really say about it anymore. Cultist was cool 5 years ago, and it still kind of is, but it's got a much cooler counterpart now.
Leave me alone!
Okay, I didn't think my opinions were going to get this drastic from the original Zen ranking. It's only been a year and a half, and this Redux ranking is almost unrecognizable. Dropping in at 8th place, we have this Overwatch League exclusive skin from Overwatch 2, Clockwork. On the previous Zen ranking, I ranked Clockwork all the way up at 4th place, so to see it fall this low may come as a surprise to some of y'all. When making this Redux ranking, I realized that Clockwork was a lot worse than I thought, and honestly, it's entirely Takoyaki's fault. I really like this sort of Acolyte-inspired design. I love the metal beard he's got going on with the white cloak hoodie and all these gears that are moving on the skin, but it's ultimately still kind of meh. It's in the middle of the road for me, and a lot of the things that previously caught my eye, I have come to find uninteresting. Maybe it's because I barely use it anymore, or maybe there are just other skins I've come to like more. Regardless, it's fallen off. L+ ratio, stay mad. The other thing I realized was that the main thing I liked about Clockwork in the original Zen ranking video was the orbs. Once again, these orbs are amazing. They're really unique and so refreshing. I love the infinity symbol with this faded out center. That said, these orbs kept reminding me of Takoyaki when I was making this list. Another skin that I thought had an okay design overall, but had incredible orb design. I don't want to give Clockwork more credit than what it's worth, and much like Takoyaki, this is a spot I felt was deserving for the skin as a whole, not just because I like these orbs. I truly have come to like other Zen skins more than Clockwork too, both new and old, so let's go to the next one on this list before I change my mind and relapse into my Clockwork orb brain rot.
One cannot survive.
Eldritch.
Honestly, this skin makes me wish Zen actually was a wizard. I mean, if you really think about it, it all makes sense now. Him being a wizard and using magic is the only thing that can explain why anytime I approach an enemy Zenyatta, I fall over and die. Casting their spot in 7th place is this Overwatch 2 skin from the Season 5 Battle Pass, Royal Astronomer. I find this skin in particular to be a blast, mostly for all the minute details sprinkled throughout it. I'll start with these orbs first. I do think the orbs are the coolest aspect of this design. I love this darker red / pink fabric padding, and it goes really well with this gold compass trim in the middle. The gold trim continues on not just the orbs, but also on the clothing itself here with the shoulder pads and this cloth hanging down the middle, even on his boots. I think they did a really good job of connecting all these gold pieces together and utilizing it as a solid trim. His shoulders also have a similar padding to the orbs, and I find that really unique. I like the color on this skin as well, with this royal purple then paired with the red and gold for like the armor. The purple is also just a color you don't really see that much on Zenyatta, and I think it was done excellently here. It gives off this royal wizard vibe perfectly and matches the name of this skin. This blue diamond necklace is just really cool and draws your attention to Zenyatta's face, and the way that the necklace glows makes me think it's some kind of magical artifact. Speaking of his face though, it's definitely another one of my favorite parts of this skin. I love this metal beard that makes him look all wispy and old, and then the fact that he has eyebrows as well and his eyes are slanted makes him look even older, which is just cool. It all comes together to just make him look like some sort of cartoonish sorcerer, and that's a whole lot of fun. The glasses are what truly sell that look to me, and paired with this super tall hat, it makes him look super goofy and makes it even funnier, and I'm so down for that. There's another one of these glowing blue magical artifacts on his hat here, and all the things on his hat are just so fun to look at with these giant feathers and another gold symbol here, possibly representing the kingdom he works for or something. Royal Astronomer is one of Zen's most fun skins in my opinion. However, the other skins I haven't covered yet, I simply enjoy more. Royal Astronomer is quirky and unique compared to a lot of Zen's wardrobe, and that makes it stand out enough to me that I feel it what earned this spot on my ranking.
I've got balls of steel.
This one would have made the top 5 on my list easily if they hadn't teased a new Zen skin literally yesterday from when I wrote this script. I don't even know if I'll be able to view it in the hero gallery, but I wrote this whole video around it because I didn't want to make a video re-ranking all of Zen's skins only for a new one to come out like 2 weeks later. It's happened before enough times that I've become so goddamn paranoid about these Overwatch skin releases. I feel like I'm going f***ing insane, Blizzard, please! Coming up at 6th place, we have this Overwatch 1 skin from the Winter Wonderland Christmas event, Toybot. This is another one of those pretty fun Zenyatta skins, and that's such a good association to tie with a skin based off an action figure. In the original Zen ranking I made, Toybot was originally in 7th place, and after giving it a second chance, I've come to like it more. The things I didn't like beforehand just aren't that big of a factor to me anymore, which really dragged it up on this ranking. I used to not like this chest plate here in the center, but you can barely see it because of the orbs anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. Another thing I don't mind as much anymore is this green sash hanging off his back. I still don't love it, but the red ribbon here at the top really makes it pop. Also, I didn't notice beforehand that he has a battery pack here, which is just funny as hell. I also really like his face here. I think it changes in-game, but like only maybe to 1 or 2 different faces. I don't entirely remember. It's still a cool face regardless if it doesn't change at all. The overall look of Toybot is really solid, and they did an excellent job selling this robot toy appearance. However, I'm still not the biggest fan of the orbs. I'm not sold on this silver case wrapping around them with these chunky plastic smiley face segments and these random colors here too. I think it would have been more fun to have them without any of this silver wrapping around it, instead just using these colorful segments here to connect to one another. Toybot's got an incredibly unique look, and I found that I like it more than I used to, so here's where I'm leaving it on this Redux ranking.
He's just standing there, menacingly!
Plot twist! It came out one of the days I was able to record this video. Here to start our top 5 on this Redux ranking is a brand new skin that quite literally just released the day I'm recording this. This is the Overwatch 2 shop exclusive Season 10 skin, the Zen Destroyer. For simplicity's sake, I'm just gonna call it the Zen Destroyer. I'm not gonna say Z3N every single time. This skin is so damn cool, and by far the most villainous look Zenyatta has gotten ever. I love the eyeball on this skin that has this retracting lens. I think that was such a cool idea, and it's kind of like a camera of some sort. It's such a good looking feature and really draws your attention to it. The rest of his body itself is very smooth here, with this wiry frame allowing to see through him just a little bit, like especially here on the legs. I really like the orbs on this skin. They kind of resemble the orb that Ramatra has on his staff a bit, especially with these inner segments that protrude out just a little bit, like with the purple top here. I also enjoy the colors that were used. Again, I think it's very rare you see purple on a Zenyatta skin because I think purple is more associated with Ramatra. I think that's just a cool design aspect to have purple on an evil Zenyatta skin because it kind of makes that play on him and Ramatra's storyline. The design as a whole resembles that of the default Null Sector robots that we last saw in the now scrapped PvE, and honestly, the gears are turning a bit in my brain here. I'm gonna go a bit off topic here, but just trust me, I'm going somewhere with this. The Overwatch team made some different versions of these robots you could fight in the PvE based off of playable Overwatch characters, like the War God Ana Mythic, and some pre-existing ones like for Bastion and Orisa. What I'm thinking happened with this skin is that the Overwatch team probably had an enemy NPC saved for the story missions, which was this Zen skin here, and then once the mode was cancelled, they figured they might as well put it in the game. I know a lot of people were hoping the PvE would be worth all this waiting and the subsequent suffering we all endured, but I'm sort of glad that the Overwatch team finally pulled the plug on PvE instead of keeping their silence about it like they did for years. I think the PvE was a great idea, but they were forced to overextend their limited team and resources on it by numerous outside forces and couldn't deliver on it in the end. Then when it finally dropped, of course it bombed because it wasn't the same as what had been shown previously. I think there are so many different ways the team could deliver the future story of Overwatch to the player base apart from PvE, and yes, it does still sting the PvE is no longer happening. Regardless, I believe it's better than the alternative of having to keep waiting even longer for either more of those lackluster campaign missions or for a proper PvE of what was promised potentially years and years down the line. I've honestly been enjoying the PvP experience since Overwatch 2 dropped, and the future of this game just keeps on getting brighter with things like the Microsoft acquisition and Bobby Kotick finally getting kicked to the curb. There's a ton of open communication with the Overwatch team, fairly frequent updates, and lots to look forward to in the coming seasons, and I, for one, can't wait. Oh, I was supposed to be talking about the Zen skin, wasn't I? It's badass, love it. I didn't already buy it and spend $20 on it. I don't have an addiction. Moving on.
These nuts. Got him! Got him!
This brings a whole new meaning to hitting someone in the nuts. Although, I think it would probably hurt you more to kick them than the other way around. I'm pretty sure the orbs are still metal underneath that shell. I mean, how else do you explain how a charge shot will kill me from halfway across the map?
No.
One cannot survive eyeballs.
Taking 4th place on this Redux ranking is the other Winter Wonderland Christmas event skin from Overwatch 1, Nutcracker. If you know anything about Zenyatta, then it shouldn't be shocking to see this skin up here on my ranking. Nutcracker is such a classic Zen skin, and one of his best to ever be released. The last time I talked about Nutcracker in the old ranking, Nutcracker was in 3rd place. I know that normally would mean I think it has gotten worse, but honestly, it was more so because I have found other skins that have gotten better to me. My favorite part about Nutcracker is obviously the most fun aspect of this design, the walnut orbs. I think this is so cool, so unique, and it really brings something to the table compared to other Zenyatta skins. I love the skins that drastically change the way Zenyatta's orbs look, and this is the skin that really did it first, and also did it successfully. Nutcracker is a solid skin, and there's not much else I have to say, because everything that I liked about it, I already said it the first time around in the previous Zen ranking. Nutcracker slaps, need I say more?
Pass into the iris.
Oh god, I can't make a good joke. Squid Games. Squid Games. Remember Squid Games? What's another squid meme? Do you think Squidward ever puts his nose in his mouth? At 3rd place, we have another Overwatch League skin, this time from Overwatch 1, Zen Nakji. This skin was custom made by an Overwatch League player as a way to celebrate his achievements during a particular season of the league. Zen Nakji is such a cool look for Zenyatta, and in the original ranking, I gave Zen Nakji 2nd place. Again, this is another case of I found other skins I like more, not that I think this one got worse. While I'm on the topic of the original ranking though, the biggest problem my past self had was apparently the fact that the gold guns turned the squid orbs up here gold too. And like, why? Why did I hate this? This is what gold guns do. They turn the weapons gold. Why was I so damn stupid? The squid orbs are honestly astounding. I love the way that they move around like an actual squid kind of does. They look so squishy and so fun. They're also just super cute, and it's such a unique design to give to Zenyatta. The squid orbs really make the skin what it is, and they look good in any form, like with the regular one, the gold gun, and now we've even got jade squids too. The overall skin itself is great, resembling a sort of New York Excelsior look, which was one of the teams in the league. I'm not sure if that's the team Nakji played on, but I've gone on to assume that it is just because of the color scheme and the symbol here on the actual like cloth hanging off his waist. Regardless, I think the colors and the look of this skin are great. Another thing I really like about this is the flowing tubes of water that make up his body. It's another really astounding highlight about it, and I love how bright they are. Zen Nakji is a great Zen skin, and again, I don't have much else to say because I already did a year ago. I can't believe I only gave this skin 5th place the last time around. It's so freaking cool. Arriving at 2nd place, we have this Overwatch 1 anniversary skin, Huitzilopochtli? I have no idea how to pronounce this. I'm just gonna go with Huitzilopochtli. This skin is way better than I remember it being a year ago, and I can't believe I don't use it more often. I love this ancient stone golem look, and the way all of his robotic parts have been replaced with this sort of like enchanted stone. The headpiece here has to be one of my favorite parts about this design, and one of my favorite looks for Zenyatta. I love the shape of this crown here. I also love the color. I'm a big sucker for that sort of lightish blue teal. The earrings that are paired with it, along with the gold like sort of headpiece here, are just really, really nice too. There are lots of other fun details with this skin, such as this knife that's hanging off of his back here, and also the fact that you can see that he's bald underneath his hat. The orbs have such an intricate pattern on them, and I truly think this look is outstanding. I love the symbols that form on the center cores here. I'm not even sure what they represent, but I think they just look so cool. Quetzalcoatl surprised me the most out of any of these skins, and it totally deserves this spot on my ranking. While it is such a good skin, it's still not my all-time favorite, so let's go ahead and take a look at my number 1 Zenyatta skin. Wow, who could have seen this coming? Oh, what a surprise this is. There was no way this skin could have possibly been number 1. That's crazy. Shocking absolutely nobody. In first place, keeping its position as my favorite Zen skin of all time in my Redux ranking, is this Overwatch 1 Anniversary Remix skin, the Cultist recolor Zealot. I mean, come on, y'all knew this was going to be number 1 the second you clicked on this video. I don't have any notes to really add from the last ranking about this skin, so I'll just go through all the things I like really quickly, just to recap. I love all the colors on this skin, especially the teal, and they all go together incredibly well. The gold chains here and on the legs are an amazing addition, and the white clothing that's all around it and his white skin here really make all the gold pop and stand out. The orbs improve upon Cultist's orb design to me immensely, with the eye color becoming teal, a color I enjoy more, and the bands surrounding the eyes becoming this gold and silver. While the dull rust pattern is pretty much gone entirely, it's been replaced with this sort of like dirty scuff look, but when you're looking at it from a distance, you can't really tell it's there. I also forgot to mention this with Cultist, but the eyeballs do move around and change where they're looking, and that's easily my favorite part about them. I'm also used to wearing the gold guns for Zenyatta constantly, and I think the gold band here does make the orbs look even more phenomenal, and it does match with the rest of the skin. Despite how much better the gold guns look though, I'm not really going to count this in my critique, because as I said at the start of the video, not everyone has any of the comp weapon skins. Zealot also keeps all of the same effects that Cultist did, such as the skin-specific voice line changes and the tentacle arms that appear when he ults. There's nothing to say I haven't said before, and it still remains my number 1 Zen skin. I wear Zealot in-game pretty much 24/7, and it's what I consider to be a perfect Zenyatta skin. The only thing that could happen that would make me wear a different Zen skin all the time would be if they released a mythic Zenyatta skin. Until that happens though, Zealot is the best skin for me, and will keep the title of my all-time number 1 Zenyatta legendary. Before I end this video, I just want to give you all a personal shout out for watching through this entire video. The next Redux ranking won't be out for a while, but while you're waiting, our next skin ranking will be for a support hero, so make sure to leave a comment down below to secure your favorite support heroes ranking. You can also check out what heroes we've already ranked using the full Overwatch 2 legendary skin ranking playlist on my channel page or in the description below. If you liked the video, hit the like button for me, and be sure to check out some of my other content on this channel. If you really enjoyed what you saw, do me a huge favor and hit subscribe so you don't miss any future content. We're on the road to 1,000 subs, and we'd love for you to stick around. That's all from me. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace. Regardless, I believe it's better than the alternative of having to keep waiting even longer for either more of those lackluster campaign missions, or for a proper PvE of what was promised potentially years and years down the line. You gotta be fucking kidding me.